Hey, what's up, my New Standard Nation? It's TJ with Strategic Real Estate Experts, and today we're going to talk about when should you do your pre-closing walkthrough inspection, and what do you do if something comes up? So if something's broken or missing that was supposed to be there. So first, in our area, it's actually written into our contracts that the buyer is allowed to do a pre-closing walkthrough to make sure that there's no damage that's been done to the property and everything was left behind that was in the contract. So I know in some other areas and parts of the country you actually need to write that into the offer. Make sure you're writing in that within 3 days of closing, so 3 days to the closing time, you have that time period to do another walkthrough inspection to make sure that even though the seller who you love and accepted your offer and is all nice and nice, has actually left the property in the condition it was supposed to and all the things behind that they were supposed to. So, ideally, we actually always try to do ours right before we go to the closing or the night before if the closing is early in the morning. So, let's say we're going to close Friday at 9 o'clock. Ideally, I would like to do the walkthrough Friday at 8:15, and then head over to the closing. Do it as close to the closing as possible because we want to see if there's any problems. And we also want to make sure that the seller is out. You should not close on a property unless the seller is out, unless there's some extenuating circumstances. So again, do not close unless the seller is out. And ideally, do not do your walkthrough until the seller has moved out. If they're moving out and pulling out with a moving truck a half hour before closing, then a half hour before closing, you're going to go do your walkthrough and then head to the closing. The seller can start signing their paperwork and we'll meet them there, right? So now if there's problems, let's say they damage the walls and put big holes in it, or the kitchen fridge that was supposed to be there is now all of a sudden gone. What do? What if the property is absolutely disgusting and you had put that it was supposed to be professionally cleaned, carpet washed, and everything dusted and cleaned, and it's dirty and there's garbage laying on the floor and there's stains in the carpet that weren't there before? What happens? You have recourse to that. So the first thing is your agent should be doing the walkthrough with you, or if you're in other parts of the country, you might have your attorney, or you're going to reach out to your agent. Your agent should be there with you, and your agent should be reaching out to the other party and saying, hey, look, here's some issues that came up. How are we going to resolve this? Because we're not closing until you take care of these items. So what could happen is we can make the seller fix the stuff and we just won't close, or correct it, or clean it, or you get a monetary value for that. So let's say we thought the fridge was worth $500. I'm going to ask for more than that personally, because now we have to go through the headache of finding a fridge and doing all this stuff. Same thing for cleaning. Maybe you don't want to hire a cleaner and you're like, I can clean it myself, but cleaners charge a lot, like $45 an hour around here is what I kind of see. I know you can find people for less, you can find people for more. So it could be a matter of not closing until they correct it, or a monetary thing where they're going to give you money back at the closing table to take care of that stuff after the fact. So again, it totally just depends on the situation, so you can negotiate again with them, but you do not have to close on the property. I know you're excited to, you want to close and make it happen, and that's a discussion we have to have, because sometimes I've had stuff where the property wasn't in the condition it should be, but the buyers were like, we want to close, we're ready to move in, we'll take care of the extra little bit of cleaning. But then there's times where it's like, well, this was missing and it was supposed to be here. We're not closing until that's back, or you're giving us money off. So again, make sure you do it as close to closing as possible. Do it when the seller's out. And if there's issues, address them right away and reach out and get that going before you're sitting across the table from one another. So again, if you want to know more about what it takes to actually buy a house, put you and your family in the best position possible, check out KnowBeforeYouBuyRealEstate.com. You can always ask us questions, text, call, email me, 608-576-0044. And emails tj@srehelp.com. Don't forget to raise your standard, and we'll talk to you soon.